Hi everyone, Jeff again. Two more quick notes before I set you loose in the system. First is on travel advances. We are going to be doing travel advances differently. Currently, what we've been doing when you issue a travel advance, you'd be debiting a customer account, you would be crediting a vendor account to create the accounts payable record, and then you would have to do two sort of pass-through entries in order to make that work through a journal entry. That's a very inefficient way to do it, and it's creating a lot of problems, I think, in the system. So I'm looking now at the chart of accounts, and I have added an account, 510996. This is Travel Advances Holding. It is an expense account. So going forward, as of today, instead of debiting a receivable, a customer, I want you to debit this Travel Advance Holding account and ensure that you put the employee ID number. It's a required field. Just make sure that it's there. That way, when you put the entry in, you'll debit the expense account and you'll credit your vendor. It's very simple. You can put it in through an invoice instead of through a general journal. It makes tracking these things much easier, and we'll go into how to actually do that tracking a little bit later. But please be aware of that. Make that change now. I'll be getting in touch with all of you to reconcile your customer balances very soon so we can move those balances into the Travel Advances Holding account. So that's change number one, very important. We close out of our chart of accounts here. The other change I just want to highlight quickly is when you're making a journal entry or any other batch style entry, I'll click on actual. Everyone has now a default batch name. At the moment, for most people, it's your first initial and last name, but in the next day or so, that's going to be changing to this format. So it'll be your company code, so mine is DC, a period, your initials, here's me, JC, and then a 0 through 9. If I pull this down, you'll see that you can actually see everybody's batches. And there's 20 of us using the system now, so that's a lot of batches. So if you create new batches, please be sure to follow a logical naming regimen to your batches, preferably this format, dc.jc0. Here's Susan, dc.susanweiss0, dc.susanweiss1, etc. You've got to put your name associated with it, otherwise it'll become very, very difficult to find whose batch is whose. So be sure to do that correctly. In the next coming days, we're going to be working on adding additional permissions in the system to lock down the names that you can actually use and which batches you can actually see. But in the interest of time, I wanted to get you all back in the system as soon as possible. So I'll let you know that when that comes out, but in the meantime, please be very careful in how you name batches. Third comment is that please don't use general journals for everything. If you're entering invoices, please enter them as invoices or as payment journals. If you're entering cash receipts, put them in as deposits or a cash receipt journal. Don't default to the general journal batch for everything. Smitha, Ty, or I now will be approving all general journals. General journals are supposed to be to correct mistakes, to do closing entries, not for just day-to-day transactions. So just be aware that we're going to be reviewing each one as part of the workflow, and you will not be able to post them until we've actually approved in the system. Finally, if you need any other help, there were a lot of people in Nairobi with me last week. All the people in Nairobi were there. Costin was there. Annie was there as well. So for those in Southern Africa, please contact Costin for help. For those in Congo, please get to Annie for some assistance. They'll have some interesting information about the new system. And for all the rest in East Africa, please contact anyone in Nairobi. Nicholas, Daniel, Nellius, or John, any of them will be able to help you out. In addition, Ty, Smith, and myself are available as needed. So good luck in the new system. I'll be checking in pretty frequently with updates and changes, and as before you know it, we'll be in the new RTC client, which is the new smoother, prettier interface. So thanks, good luck, and we'll be in touch.